good? Another podcast. You don't have enough podcasts in your life.
That's right. You were just listening to something else, and then we randomly started yelling in your ear.
Yeah, our podcast just plays on its own.
Yeah, that's right, son.
Okay.
Shoot, you thought you was opening Google Maps?
Nah, man. This is Google Maps.
Ew. Wipe your screen off.
That does not sound good.
No, it does not. I know a guy who died from that.
What is good, everybody? My name is Cristian Polanco.
I'm Alexis Guerrero.
And as always,
It's the Cooligans, buddy.
you know what time it is
That's
out here.
right.
Meadowlark Media Zone, Soccer Illuminati.
That's right.
Okay. Okay, we're out here running DraftKings Network.
That's right.
YouTube.
Oh, you thought Dan had control of this? Nah, fam.
Nah, bro.
We're the Dan behind the Dan.
Okay. The deep state
That's
of,
right.
of soccer.
Of
That's what they
Meadowlark.
call us. What's good, everybody? Excited about today's show because we have a special guest of Backheeled, of Total Soccer Show. Yeah, that's whenever we say Total Soccer Show, you have to hit that button. Of Total Soccer Show. Joe Lowery is going to be joining us, talking some U.S. Women's National Team and obviously the coaching hire of Emma Hayes. We'll get a deep dive into what to expect with the new hire, especially because Joe Lowery was the person who broke the news about Emma Hayes being the U.S. Women's National Team
That's
head
right.
coach.
Is it positive news? We're about to find out.
Exactly. So we'll see. All right. But we have to start with some U.S. men's national team stuff, especially because it is the international break.
How much do you like international breaks? Have we become such soccer fans that we now hate the international break?
We're basically like Liverpudlians. You know what I mean? Like they
What even play, mate? I don't know. I can't do a scouse.
they can't even stand the fact that they don't get to see their club. Like Premier League fans in England, they're just like, what? Why do we have to stop?
What do you care about England? We don't care about England.
Okay. So I mean, look, if it's a big tournament, look, the Nations League is not really riling me up. So no.
Really?
Yeah.
But you like that more than the Gold Cup? Don't nobody care about no Gold Cup.
No, I think I'm a Gold Cup over Nations
Yeah,
League guy.
nah, Nations League all day.
I'm Nations League. I feel like recently though Nations League became the new like Gold Cup equivalent for CONCACAF.
Can I tell you why? Because we won them all. baby.
That's true.
We've won them all.
But the Gold Cup has, a little bit more history. It has some just different.
Bro, it was started by Chuck Blazer for money, bro.
My hero, Chuck Blazer.
Which is why we love it.
No,
let me tell you. You know how they disrespect our game on the other side of the pond? Mm-hmm. I was talking to a friend. He was like, oh, y'all got Nations League too? It ain't just y'all.
They don't even know that it's a FIFA thing.
Yeah, dog. You're not the only ones.
Okay, we have Nations League instead of pointless friendlies. That's all. That's all.
Also, someone said to me, how come you don't have the Euros? Because we're not in Europe.
No way someone actually asked that to you.
I
bro.
swear.
There's no way this is an
I
intelligent
swear.
person that you were talking to.
I never said that.
It was just
I
the
said
mirror.
so.
Alexis was in the mirror.
I will tell you this. I was in the offices adjacent to Arsenal Fan TV.
Wow.
And someone said to me, how come y'all don't have the Euros? And I said, I'll explain it to you.
Okay, let me pull out this
That's
map.
crazy.
Do you
bro.
remember when we beat you in a war? And it consequently saved you from another one?
We got to start from the beginning.
No, we got it. Look, you guys were wearing red coats, okay?
Anyway, okay. So no.
You think we were called the 90-minute men? No, just the minute men, all right?
I am, I think whatever. Like, it's international breaks are in general, I'm not generally excited about them.
I love them.
But when the U.S. men's national team or U.S. women's national team are playing, that's the what I go to. So I'm not just out here scrolling through futbol looking up every single country playing each other. I'm not just like, oh my God, all the countries are playing. This is so exciting.
Cyprus versus Andorra. I can't wait to see what
I've
happens.
been waiting for years.
Let me call my bookie and see what the line is.
That's the real reason to pay attention to the international break.
Bro, I gotta be honest with you. If you are betting on Gibraltar
What do you mean?
versus Cyprus or Andorra, and you're not in any way, shape, or form associated with any of those countries,
New Caledonia over 1.5 team goals, bro. It was a lot.
Bro.
I look at it and I'm like, didn't Turkey Annex Cyprus? I don't know. I haven't been paying attention to my geopolitical news.
That's like
bro.
when Puerto Rico was playing against the U.S. in the basketball. I'm like,
Right.
how are you allowed to do that?
That should be. That's a Spider-Man meme pointing at each other, bro.
No.
You don't need to do
Get
that.
back to the Bronx, bro.
Anyway, U.S. Has their second game against Trinidad tonight.
That's
but
right.
In Cuba, right?
In Cuba.
But the first game,
In Havana, Cuba.
the first game happened. That was on Wednesday or Thursday?
Thursday.
Thursday
Yeah,
it was
evening.
This past weekend. But before the weekend.
The U.S. won 3-0, and
I mean, barely.
barely. I mean, you don't barely win 3-0.
Nah, it was barely a 3-0 win.
This might be the best description of a barely 3-0 victory.
That's barely, I think, is fits.
They barely just put a triple on them.
Uh-huh.
Right. Yeah, I get it. Okay.
Yeah.
So, yes, all the goals came after what the
Dumb
definitely
late,
the
I think is the official
81st minute.
terminology.
Don't go on. Dumb late, yeah.
You heard the announcer
I heard,
say
yeah. That's. I think Andres Cantor said that.
We got to get him on the show to say dumb late.
Yes, so it was Pepe scoring in the 82nd minute, Anthony Robinson scoring in the 86th, and then Giorena scoring in the 89th. This was
Somehow a dude from, I think, Irvington or Union got a red card in this game. The kid Powder, he's from Jersey.
Oh, okay.
Noah Powder.
I thought you meant, we said Union. I thought you meant the Philadelphia Union.
No,
but
no.
The red card was Noah Powder. He got 2 yellows.
2 yellows, yeah.
The first one probably could have been a red.
Yeah.
He got off easy. It was 2 fouls on Weston McKennie.
And now Weston McKinney's injured.
Exactly. I mean, my man was like, the coach said, go after Weston's ankles. So, look, it doesn't look like it's severe for the injury for
I forget
Weston
how much
McKennie.
he's listed as time off. We said
But it
like
was
6 times on the show.
Both tackles were pretty bad. Yeah, I mean, once the red card happened in the first half, in the 38th minute, I'm just like, all right, this game is gonna open up.
Wrap it up.
Let's have a good time. You know, those first 37 minutes, yeah, I was a little worried because, you know, we've had experiences with Trinidad and Tobago in the past that have, you know, maybe a little bit of, you know, trauma. Trinidad.
There's some PTSD associated.
Trinidad and Tobago. Anyway,
You are
I was
not
really trying to
doing
force. I was trying to force it.
Get ready for another one of those at one point in this episode.
You know, we try to do comedy sometimes, and it doesn't always work. But
Barely.
like just like this barely 3-0 victory. So I was getting a little worried of like, oh, could we have a bad result here? But after that red card, obviously my optimism went through the roof. And then watching the first 30 minutes of that second half, I'm like, why am I not happy right now?
Yeah. How come we're not playing like we're up a man when we should be playing like that at the beginning of this match anyway? Because against Trinidad and Tobago, who have been absolutely woeful.
Yeah. So I mean, just a couple. We can talk about. Look, as far as the overall outcome, that is the expected result. It's a shame. There've been a couple,
But that wasn't a convincing 3-0.
It was not at all. I mean, it's worse that they were playing with 10 men, and that was how the U.S. played.
I don't mean to disrespect Trinidad and Tobago, and this better not be one of the clips, and I mean that. Seriously, don't make this one of the clips. Let this just be for the people of the podcast. We should let them play with 13 men.
Okay, all right.
You know what I mean?
Just look, if anybody wants, maybe not our editor, wants to clip that out.
Yeah, no, don't do that.
And use it.
Hey, don't put any of the context either of me giggling after.
And put it on the Trinidad and Tobago's Reddit page.
I'm sure.
I'm just saying,
I'll never be able to go back to Irvington, New Jersey, or wherever Noah Powder's from.
So,
but let's be honest, we should be beating this Trinidad and Tobago. Even Trinidad and Tobago former player Shaka Hislop are saying this is not a great team right now. This is not a great version of the Trinidad and Tobagos that we remember from the past. We should not be struggling this much against them, even with their full squad on the pitch. Never mind against 10 men.
So look, I'll give Trinidad some credit here. In that, on paper, it looks like we should dominate this team and it should be a breeze. But I got to give them credit. They tactically played a good game. They had a strategy.
No, they didn't.
They defended well.
Scroll down and see how many shots they had.
Defended well.
Scroll down. You said good tactics. Scroll down. How many shots did they have?
One. I'm talking about defensive.
It wasn't even on target, bro.
26 shots they took. 8 on target, only 3 big chances, playing with a man down. That's not terrible for a team that on paper, quote unquote, is not that good.
So our listeners aren't confused. You mean held us to 26 shots?
Correct.
It's pretty bad. 8 shots on target. That's on our fault. That's our fault. That's not on them.
They
didn't pick up the goal and move it.
They put some pressure on us to not get great shots.
Yeah, they crowded the box, but they didn't even try. They didn't even try.
Who didn't try? They didn't. Well, how? They were playing against an incredibly dominant opponent. They weren't going to get many opportunities.
Was a 5-4-1. This should be embarrassing at the international level.
It's a look. You have to assume that from match to match, from the previous matches against their previous matches against the U.S. What were the previous results? We talked about this last week. They lost
19-0,
6-0 in July. They lost 7-0 in January. They lost 6-0 June 2019. So there has to be some level of improvement to not have to deal with results like that.
Yeah,
and
the level of improvement is that they only lost by 3 as opposed to by 6 or 7.
Right, but
so you're saying we on the up.
But they only lost by 3 with a man down. So you have to give some credit there. So I mean, Trinidad and Tobago TikTok, clip that. Okay.
Yeah.
So if you want a balance,
give him credit.
If you want a nice balanced approach,
fine. Yes, there was some progress made.
So and this is where you criticize.
As a football
this
nation.
is where the criticism should be on the players, on Greg Berhalter. There was the moment with did you see Greg Berhalter arguing with Tim Ream, and where Tim Ream was defending Gio Reyna, and that he was sort of playing his designation well, and maybe he thought like that Greg was overly critical of him or whatever. I don't know all of the context, but overall, they figured it out, and
because him and Tim are the same age. That's why it's easier. You're allowed to do that.
I think Tim's older. I'm pretty sure Tim Ream patted Greg Berhalter on the head after he spoke to him.
Greg Berhalter carried his bags his rookie season.
No, so they I thought if this red card doesn't happen, it's definitely not a 3-0 result.
No, and this looked like it was going to be a 1-0, 2-0 max.
Yeah, they just needed the goal to ideally to just come sooner, but they couldn't. Look, and this is where I just give credit to Trinidad, because there was it was a deflection, the first goal from Pepe, right, if I'm not mistaken, and then it was also kind of a deflection from the Anthony Robinson goal. The goal from Gio Reyna was literally one of the greatest plays I've seen from the U.S. men's this iteration of the U.S. men's national team in like 2 years. That was just that is how they should have been playing. That
is almost like a Wenger ball-esque.
Yeah. Beautiful.
To me, it's like this is what you get when you have a Gio Reyna in form, not injured, and confident that his position won't be lost for something outside of what happens on the pitch.
Right, and I feel like we're past that, right?
I feel like now that Greg feels good enough to have an argument with him or tell him something's wrong. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like when you and your girl ain't arguing, you'll be like, okay, now I can mention that I don't like this thing you did over here.
Right.
You know what I mean?
She can accept the criticism.
The week before, you're like, I'm gonna fix this myself. I don't need to have that. I'm not bringing this up again. You know what I mean? But now you're cool. You're back on speaking terms, so you can say it. It feels like we're at that point, and it does feel like everyone's moved on. But to some degree, there is the lingering fear, and I know we want to talk about Kevin Paredes, who I think I had a great game, to be honest with you. I know the numbers don't hash out, but I think Charlie even said he seemed like someone who was young, was trying too much, was trying to impress, and once that calms down and he starts playing the position the way he's asked, as opposed to showing how much he can do.
It was his first start.
Bro, I think he did just fine. In fact, there were moments where he was the only one with any energy.
Yeah, I thought he did well. I think Look, he was basically playing Christian Pulisic's position.
Right.
And
not easy to do. Look, there were moments where he should have been super wide and he was trying to cut in. Yeah. And I think he's learning that position. So yes, maybe not the best game he's ever had.
He's also kind of, for the men's national team, he's kind of played as a fullback, wingback, attacking like wingback kind of. So he
said he was up for it though.
He was, and this is why he played at DC United as well. So it's not that he's not familiar with the position. He just recently scored at Wolfsburg. So he's settling in. I thought the criticism was probably a little bit hard. Him and Tillman were also getting a lot of criticism.
Also doesn't
it's
deserve any criticism.
They're replacing Christian Pulisic and Tim Weah. All right.
Easy, go nothing.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Do you guys cut the USMNT any slack? Because, our offensive performance wasn't that great, but you're missing probably the two most influential attacking players that you have in your starting lineup.
Still shouldn't matter against a team like Trinidad and Tobago.
They should be able to break them down.
I agree,
squad,
but we did with Pulisic and Tim Weah. Is that not then, like a 5-0 to 6-0 victory and everyone is a little bit happier?
It should still be 3-0 and a much easier. We should not have had that tension built to the 80th minute. I will also say this, when it comes to Kevin Paredes, something to also keep in mind is that he's Caribbean, and you can't really disrespect him.
Yeah, there's no slander of him at all.
In fact, I would soften your criticism
Not
a
only
little
is he
bit.
Caribbean, he is Dominican.
Yeah, he's
like me.
little tuyo.
Okay? De lo mío.
Bro.
He is not. To me, I don't even know why Fatma gave him a 6.9 or 69. You know.
Well, now you know why they did, bro.
That should be a 10.
Nah, bro. Keep it 69 forever, dog. He get it. They know the vibes, bro. But have much more respect of this man. He's Dominican.
I honestly didn't even mean it as criticism. I just think when you replace your best player with a guy in his first start in the national team, like it's just bound to happen that you're not going to perform.
I agree with that. My
to.
criticism is probably a little bit. Not harsh is not the word, but it's a little bit more intense because of the red card. I thought once, especially in that second half, I wanted to see a lot more chemistry between the players. And look, credit Paredes, Balogun, and Tillman up front have not really played together. They've not played together.
No, that's a partnership that hasn't developed. But again,
Tillman is more.
We're going to keep saying they should be
midfielder?
playing better against a team like Trinidad and Tobago. In fact, if anything, the only real criticism here, and again, this is a coach that I like because the players wanted him, but if you're Greg Berhalter, now we've seen BJ Callahan with your tactics make this team look fun, inspiring, energetic, and then you with your tactics, they seem a bit lethargic, a bit stale,
the vibes are
a bit
different,
slow.
no doubt.
So why is there that discrepancy? You tell me. Yeah. Is it just the young naivety of the job for BJ Callahan that he comes in and says, like, hey, guys, you already know what to do. We're going to play in these positions. Get out there and show me what you got. And maybe that inspired because maybe he didn't have the confidence in himself to really deep dive into each position and say exactly what he's requesting. Where we know Greg Berhalter breaks down positions and is very detail-oriented. And maybe not having that gave the player the opportunity to sort of go out there and try something different. Maybe that's it. Maybe it's not a tactical thing, but we do want to know, why is there a different energy? And that's an important question to be asked. And I don't think I don't consider that a negative criticism of Greg Berhalter. I really don't. And I hope it's not taken that way. If the players wanted you back, then I want you back because I want what the players want. If that's what's going to make them happy. We all start singing it. Berhalter, come back. You can put it on Chris. But I think at the end of the day, I want to know, like, hey, yo, why did it feel different in Nations League? Remember how much, we was balling.
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't think this team is ready yet for those role players, those bench players to even come close to the level of the starters. I mean,
do you think that this Trinidad and Tobago's A squad, which I'm assuming is what we saw, is as good as our B squad?
No.
Okay. Hold on.
No, that's
why
a
one-word answer.
That's
one
why
word
the
answer.
result was frustrating.
One word answer. Do you think Trinidad and Tobago's A team is as good as our C squad?
No, I don't.
Do
you think they would have beat the team that was at the Gold Cup? I don't think so. We would have beaten that Trinidad team.
Yeah, no, yeah. I mean, as good. Maybe they're not as good, but I don't think the dip off is that grand.
Sure, but I agree with Mike. I don't think Trinidad and Tobago's A squad can compete with our C squad.
Sure.
So that said, an A squad with a bunch of B mixed in, you're telling me that team can't look a little bit more comfortable against the 10-man Trinidad and Tobago?
Then look, the Trinidad coach came in with a game plan, and it worked quite well for the most part, for the majority of this game. And
I'm not taking anything away from them.
Up until the 82nd minute, I would say the Trinidad coach out coached Greg.
No. You can't say out coach. You have to actually coach to out coach. No disrespect. No disrespect.
He defended well. They figured it. They figured what the U.S.
Scroll
was going
down
to do.
to the thing. One of the stats where where Trinidad and Tobago is beating is beating the U.S. is in big chances missed. You know why? Because they didn't have any big chances, so they didn't miss any. That's what you're saying. Look, Trinidad and Tobago outcoached them in the big chances missed.
It was a low block. They defended well. You got to give credit where credit is due. All right.
They don't deserve credit for that.
Okay. Let's move on real quick, and we'll get to Joe Lowery in a second. But just an Everton update. Okay, a little toffee update because we got the news. What is it? The points deduction is
you
already
had said
in.
You heard it might be 6.
I heard it might be, and it still might be 6 because
there is an appeal.
There is an appeal, and a lot of people are expecting that the 10-point deduction.
What's what you do? You start high, and then you negotiate your way down.
Okay.
And what is it? The FA? Is it the FA that's coming after you?
It's the
Or
Premier
UEFA?
League.
The Premier League?
The Premier League.
The Premier League heard that, and they said, all right, we'll go almost as high as we possibly can.
So here are a couple, because I've looked into the report. I mean, look, I have the report. We're looking at the report right
Christian's
here.
doing his own research.
I was about to say, what do you mean we looked into the report, bro? Yo, bite your tongue, man. This is the first I'm seeing it.
This is the official report.
Ooh, Section 3 is who's who.
Yeah, it's a whole thing. So, but there is a report. Is available on the Premier League website.
Carlo Ancelotti.
Yeah, these
right.
are all like all the witnesses, everybody involved, and stuff like that. But this is kind of the main.
I can't believe Carlo Ancelotti was the manager of Everton.
This is basically where we are. So Everton did get a 10-point deduction. They are currently in 19th place, sitting on 4 points and a -3 goal differential. If they win against Manchester United this weekend, they're out of the relegation zone. A lot of people are kind of just saying if Everton were going to face a points deduction, this is the perfect season for it to happen because they're in good form and they can get out of it pretty quickly. It's still, I just want to highlight, it is absolutely infuriating to see Everton in this position right now.
I think that's such a dumb take because one injury and all of a sudden it's not that easy to get. You guys are acting like it's nothing.
No, it's not nothing. But this has stoked a lot of frustration, anger with Everton.
It's also a big anti-authority push coming.
Without a doubt. I mean, Everton about to get punk rock, bro. Okay, romper stomper out here. Okay,
you're missing me quite a bit with all what you're saying.
I'm wearing my Doc Martens.
I was gonna say Vans. What do these kids wear?
Okay,
you got a chain going from your wallet to your belt.
Okay, I'm wearing Jenkos. That's a different.
He's starting ear gauges.
No, so yeah, Everton fans are quite upset. But then let's just get into the specifics because we talked about it kind of vaguely last week. But this is the main point from the Premier League report, and I'll read it here. It says the Premier League's case is that a proper PSR calculation, that's profit and sustainability rules. A proper PSR calculation for the season 2021-2022 demonstrates losses of £124.5 million, which exceeds the sum of $105 million permitted by Rule E51 by £19.5 million. So that's it. They overspent by £19.5 million, and the Premier League said. Initially, this is the issue. The Premier League said that they should be deducted 12 points. That's what we talked about last week. And the independent panel said, we'll do 10. So 19.5 million overspent. Premier League wanted 12 points deducted. The panel decided on 10. So just so you know, this is the worst ever penalty and highest ever points deduction that has a Premier League club has ever faced. So this is and essentially what happened. Everton is like, look, the COVID, right?
You were allowed to count your losses from the COVID era.
Right. So, but Everton were 100% transparent about everything that was going on. So they were just simply saying like, yes, we did break the rules, but look at why. We're building a stadium. COVID. And then the other one,
Ukrainian war,
the Ukrainian war,
because Usmanov,
and they were
an oligarch was tied to the finances of Mishari.
They were going to get a sponsorship from the USM, and that was going to basically would have been, would have covered these issues, these costs of overspending. So the other one that not too many people are talking about is also because teams knew that Everton were dealing with this. Richarlison comes into play because Richarlison was sold for roughly 60 million euros. 60. And so they're also kind of suggesting that Tottenham knew that Everton would have to sell Richarlison for less money than they really want. They wanted 80, which would have, again, 20 million pounds right here resolves this issue. So they basically had to sell. They were forced to sell Richarlison for that price and not recoup money that they could have helped balance their books. So these are all the issues. And really the main point is that Everton were transparent. They wanted the whole commission and everything, the investigation expedited. They're like, we want to sort this out. This is what happened. This is why we're dealing with this. And Premier League was like, no, because it just seemed 19.5 million pounds is 10 points of a deduction that doesn't give you a sporting advantage. They did not gain any sporting advantage at all.
You're right.
We know.
I've said this before.
We've seen them play.
I said, if I showed you 5 Everton matches and I said, yo, these guys broke a rule, the last one you'd pick is overspent. By far the last one you'd pick.
So it highlights that the club was...
I will say, you're treating 19 million like it's nothing, and it does seem like nothing.
In Premier League standards...
It's about 20% over. That's a good chunk.
20% over...
You're allowed to lose 105. They claim 19.5 million over that. That's about 20%.
Look, even in this report, they claim that the numbers are not as... They don't agree with the 19.5 million. Everton said that the breach was more like 9.7 million. The Premier League didn't accept that. Neither did the panel. But
you could argue those points in an appeal and get that taken down. I think at the end of the day, I think we all... And it does feel a little bit like, why are people trying to have pity on a club? Like, at the end of the day, it feels weird to be like, whoa, it's like a charity case. Like, oh, don't punish Everton. I think the glaring issue is that there's other teams.
They're coming for everybody.
This is what my whole thing is. I don't think they're making an example of Everton. I think they're showing you with Everton what they're about to do to everybody else.
That's what it kind of feels like.
They're showing you, like, look at how bad we're treating lowly-ass
Everton.
But
but without a doubt, this feels harsh. I mean, there's no other way to put it. Even other Premier League fans of other clubs are like 10, really? Yeah. Like it seems a little bit harsh.
Yeah.
For the rules that they broke, and they've also have not impeded the Premier League in their investigation. They've done everything that they've been
when they
asked
should have. That's what you do.
That's another thing people are saying. People are saying like, well,
you're a professional club. You've got to deter, distract.
Okay.
You've got to cause blockades.
Jiggle your keys in front of them.
What's that over there? You got to do a lot of that. And then you mess up the papers. And they're like, I got to start from scratch. You'd be like, you could just take our word for it that it was 9.5, bro.
Okay. And that's a point a lot of people...
This is what City's doing?
Yeah, well, they're just saying, like... Hey,
they say, you want the documents? City's like sending it one page a day.
Hire the lawyers, do everything, slow down the process. That would have
muddy the waters, Everton.
That would have benefited...
You're a small club because of this. You can't be honest. You can't be forthright. You can't have dignity. You trying to win, dog.
Okay.
You deserve the 10 points just for this.
We need to have a jingle for Alexis Math. Okay, this is officially Alexis Math.
No, but I'm saying, like, remember that commercial with the basketball team, and the guy goes to the coach.
Was out on me, coach.
It was out on me, coach. That's you, Everton. That's you.
Okay.
This isn't some Lifetime movie. This isn't a Disney or Pixar movie. You talking about people whose livelihoods depend on your club. Get out there and muddy the waters.
Chelsea.
Say someone, oh yeah, the guy from the FA touched me. You know what I mean? Do something.
Chelsea would be like, that was not on me, coach, and I wasn't even playing. I've never even been. I don't even know who you are.
What you talking about? Also, look at these photos of you last week. You really want to say that was not on me?
I don't think your wife would want to see these.
Huh? You think I didn't have these? I have it on me at all times, coach.
Anyway, it is.
I'm the new coach. Ball comes to me.
It is so frustrating. But that's it. That's basically. I mean,
this was minor league by Everton by
document,
being honest and open and forthright. All 3 mistakes you made. You deserve the 10 points. You shouldn't even be allowed to appeal it. I appeal the way you handled this situation.
The document was 41 pages long in the whole report. And and there is so people are upset, and I think even after reading the whole thing, I don't think anybody comes out of reading that being like, "Damn, Everton, they should be relegated. How could they do this?"
No,
really, it's really not. I mean, did they break a rule? Yes. Is it the biggest thing in the world, like where it helped them succeed on the pitch? We all know that is not the case. So that's why the 10-point deduction feels like a cruel punishment.
Even if they won the league, I don't think it's still a good enough punishment. Like, I don't think there's a good punishment for it. It just seems it's $19.5 million where they were like, no, we did spend that over. We messed up because of other things didn't come together.
Yeah.
And mind you, this isn't you're only allowed to spend $105 like they overcharged your credit card. This is their profit and loss. They couldn't bring in a 19.5 like you said with sponsorships or something else, or maybe the sale of a player to balance it out.
Now I have a reason to hate Spurs.
Yeah, there you go.
Bro,
everybody get on board.
One of us.
That's all I needed. Okay, I will never forgive you.
Yeah.
St. Totteringham's Day, I'm celebrating.
Yo, he coming through. He coming through the house for the next St. Totteringham's Day.
So that's it. Man, just
it's pathetic.
Yeah, frustrating. And just to add this, I read this online in my.
Then it must be real.
They are organizing. Everton fans are organizing to protest the Premier League offices because they really they want to make their point heard.
Can I suggest everyone bring your CVS receipts? You know those long receipts. They're clearly going through them. Bring them.
So it's gonna be wild. So look, I think with an appeal, the deduction is reduced. But yeah, just frustrating to say the least. I need to chill, without a doubt. That's
the problem.
That's what I have learned.
Even me, I was getting very angry there for a second. Very upset at the way Everton handled this.
Exactly.
Dignity.
Alexis, not a fan of it.
Nah.
Dignity.
I need to chill, man. I need to relax. It's fall, you know what I mean?
It's fall, but the holidays are nearby. Winter's coming soon.
I just spent a weekend with my in-laws. Well, not a full weekend, just about 6 hours, but it felt like a weekend. And let me tell you something. I needed to chill.
Time goes slower when you're with your in-laws.
It is so difficult. I'm like, you guys don't even turn the lights on when you eat? This is crazy.
So the way we chill.
I need to chill. I wish I would have had a nice cold Coors Light.
Exactly. This Thanksgiving, that's going to be the move. Can we stuff turkeys with nice cold Coors Light? I mean,
ooh, they do the chicken, the beer can chicken?
Yeah, why not?
Why don't we do it with a nice cold Coors Light? Everyone's like, yo, this chicken is delicious.
That's the move. Okay, look at this. I'm a chef now.
You know what you do? You know what you do? You tape a little Blue Mountain to the chicken so you know it's ready. Everyone knows. Go get yourself a little piece. Grab a little wing.
That is the move. So Coors Light is cold lagered, cold filtered, and cold packaged. It's literally made to chill. Make time to chill this holiday season and reach for the beer that's made to chill. Get Coors Light delivered straight to your door with Drizzly or Instacart by going to CoorsLight.com/Cooligans.
That's CoorsLight.com/Cooligans. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
All right, let's chat with Joe Lowery about all things U.S. Women's National Team, Emma Hayes, MLS Playoffs. We covered it all. So here it is. Here's our convo with Joe Lowery.
Wow, another amazing Cooligans interview about to start.
Okay, Alexis, the review. Alexis hasn't even done any
5 stars,
any part of his job, but the reviews are in.
Which is generally probably the way I want it done. Because if you see what I do, you might not give me the 5 stars.
Okay,
but this is incredible. I mean, these are some of the minds that we bring in here to really break down what's going on. Because you cannot trust us with facts.
With facts? With lies? You can't trust us with anything.
No. We're not the show you come to for that.
No. I'm actually super excited because this is a long overdue guest to have on the show.
This is the first time this man is on our show?
First time.
That's ridiculous.
And it's
I blame you.
Okay. By you mean Joe Lowery.
Yeah, 100%.
But no.
Our Total Soccer Show, Backheeled.
ESPN.
What?
Everything. He's written, if you've seen a word, he's written it, probably.
William Shakespeare, everybody. No.
But please welcome our guest of Backfield of Total Soccer Show, just American soccer journalist extraordinaire,
Yes.
Joe Lowery. Joe, what's up, man?
Wow, guys, it's great to be here. I love the intro. That's maybe the best intro I've ever received about if there's a word, I've written it. It's just not true. But then you guys said it. You can't be trusted with facts. And so I think that's all fine. I think we're on brand.
I'm not gonna read words that say otherwise, Joe.
No, yeah.
Okay.
We like a little light embellishment to intro. Christian went all the way. He invented the language.
Love that.
No, but Joe, we brought you on specifically because obviously there's a lot in American soccer going on right now. But with the U.S. Women's National Team, I had seen when Emma Hayes was announced as the new coach for the U.S. Women's National Team,
Which has not been announced yet.
It has been announced.
Has it been
Yes.
official?
It
is official.
Okay, again, you don't come here for facts or lies. You come here for Christian to fact check.
Congratulations, everyone. Thank you, Joe, for appearing on the show.
We literally did a segment talking about it just the other
it
day.
is official.
And it is official. But no.
But it's not until what? To the end of the Chelsea season.
Right.
Correct. She's not going to be She's not going to be coaching until then. But the reason I bring this up is because when I first saw the news, the person who I first saw make the announcement was Joseph Lowery.
Wow.
Okay, so this was just exciting. This is like just seeing, when the homies are like thriving and succeeding. So when I saw per Joe Lowery, per Backfield, Emma Hayes announced as the coach, I'm like, let's go. We out here. We doing it. We started from the bottom.
Right? The homies out here breaking news,
So
bro.
before we even talk about Emma Hayes and get behind the tactics and figure out what she's going to do, I want to talk about Joe Lowery and how does it feel to be the first to break this news? Please.
And who do you know?
This is when I lay out all my sources, as everybody does. So first of all, I'm working on the mustache. It's coming in slowly, but I feel like until I've got some sort of Tom Bogert mustache, it doesn't really count, and I'm just like making believe over here. That's kind of how it has to go. It was a bizarre experience. Like Tom, to his credit, this is the cool thing about the American soccer landscape. I think we're still young enough and still like trying to find ourselves enough that everybody's still just like super nice and awesome to each other. And so it's not as maybe quite as cutthroat as you would get in other industries. And Tom's beat, to bring him up again, is not the women's national team. It's not the women's game. But he shoots me a text. He's like, yo, dude, this is sick. Like, if you need anything, call me. I was an anxious wreck, like, when I broke my first news. And I kind of was, right? I can kind of relate to a lot of that stuff. It's a weird feeling. It's not something that I do a lot. And sort of to have this scoop be the first thing was even stranger. But it's awesome, and I think U.S. fans should be excited about this new era, as I was frantically typing on my phone while sitting next to a porta potty at a cross-country meet, which is how this happened, to peel back the curtain.
Bro.
I know sometimes when I'm like texting my wife, like, yo, I'll be there at 3:45. Right before I send it, I double check Google Maps one more time. You know what I mean? Because the last thing I want to do is be wrong. Before you hit send on this thing,
Yeah.
how many times were you just checking every word of that just to be like, we sure her name is Emma? Okay, Hayes?
We can do that. We can spell check that. Yeah, I didn't get any red underlines on there. It's true. Honestly, I love that illustration, Alexis. And that's a very good thing to do, to be punctual for your wife. I'm sure she appreciates that. It's bizarre. I was just sort of like scrolling Twitter for whoever is still using Twitter and whatever we're calling it. I sort of like refreshing, just waiting for someone else, right? Because how is this going to be me, right? I am aware enough to recognize Meg Linehan, Jeff Kassouf. Like, there are other incredible people that cover the women's game a lot, and I cover it as well, but I tend to cover it from a slightly more removed, usually, frankly, remote kind of way, where I'm watching the tape and I'm digging back into it, and we'll talk about it on TSS, and I'll write about it for Backfield. Like, these people are in and around the team more than I am, frankly, and so I'm just sort of refreshing and kind of waiting to see what's going to happen. And nobody's doing it. And it's me. And all the words were spelled correctly as far as I know. No one's complained. So I think we checked both boxes.
Well,
I would love if like Meg Linehan sent him a voice note. It was like, hey, congratulations, you broke the news. You do that one more time, I'll break your legs.
Well, look.
I'll break both your legs. I'm Meg Linehan. Nobody messes with Meg Linehan. This is my territory.
Look, and we know Meg personally. That is how she sounds. That is how she talks.
That is an exact. You may not know her as well as we know her.
Of course.
Everyone listening and watching.
But no, I just take that statement as that Joe Lowery is putting everybody on notice in the U.S. Women's professional soccer
Homie
scene.
say, here we go.
My man, we call him Joe Romano. Okay.
You could have said Joe Lowery. We all would have been on board.
All right. So it's been coined. So Joe, all right. So that's
I do want to ask, what are your thoughts on this? Because I think we all look at it and go, all right, this is probably the first person we had in mind, or top of the list we had in mind to take over. 70% win percentage at Chelsea. I mean, absolutely incredible. And we've seen some of the videos leak of like halftime speeches. This isn't good enough. You could leave right now. All this, like, bro, this is the one.
and that's just her ordering a bagel.
Right?
Like,
Oh my God! Somehow I get her energy, bro. I'm like, I get it. What are your thoughts on this person chosen? I assume Matt Crocker made this decision.
Yeah. So first of all, I assume that energy, Alexis, is what you channel at the bagel shop. Like that doesn't seem like it should be a surprise or it should be.
They already know when I walk in. They said there's a winner.
Yeah, this guy's a serial winner, which is what Matt Crocker. That's the term that Crocker used on the presser that I was on right before this.
Yeah.
This is a
You're
Matt
like, you know
Crocker
what he
hire.
wants? Everything in everything bagel.
He wants it all.
And Emma Hayes wants to do it all too, coaching Chelsea and the national team. Like this is complicated, right? All of the details around this, the logistics of it are complicated. There's still a lot, frankly, that we don't know. You know, it seems like there's a very real chance that she'll pop up in Fort Lauderdale for these games that the U.S. has against China coming up at the beginning of December. But Matt Crocker took care to say, like, you know, we're hoping that that's going to happen. They still don't know. But one thing he said that I think is true, and the U.S. Soccer made the right calculation in this way of, you know, they said, even if we have to compromise on some of the short-term stuff, we wanted to go out and get the best possible coach. And I think there's a lot of arguments that point to Emma Hayes being that coach. I think she will do a lot of things noticeably better than what Vlatko Andonovski did. You mentioned some of the videos, like some of the viral social media clips of her coaching Chelsea that have gone viral. It doesn't seem like she has a problem telling people difficult things. And my perception is that Vlatko was very hesitant to move on from players. He was very hesitant to really take over and do some of the more authoritative stuff in that role. And we saw a lot of soccer, right? I mean, it was not good to watch. You guys watched this team play. Like, you saw how much they struggled at the World Cup and before the World Cup, at the Olympics, all this stuff. One thing that you can say about Emma Hayes is that she is clear. She will give the U.S. some very clear patterns in how that they play. Now, there's some weaknesses in her game as well. I don't think that her Chelsea teams have been especially good at breaking down low blocks. It's a lot of brute force, you know, almost Red Bull stuff in moments and some other more patient possession in other moments. It's not a Pep Guardiola, Ange Postecoglou, whatever, you know, tactical approach from Emma Hayes. But she's going to give the U.S. some things to tie themselves to, and the bar is low. It was set very, very low by Vlatko in the last cycle, but she will very clearly step over that bar with the national team.
Yeah, it sounds like what Joe is saying is that Emma Hayes is willing to and capable of taking some of the players, maybe some of the older players, to a farm upstate, if you know what I mean. You know what I mean? To move on.
No. They went to go live with another family.
But it's an interesting thing because I think we focus a lot on Emma Hayes' personality, and I like that. Just as far as tactically, because I know you talk a lot about this on TSS, sure. Like that we focus on her personality and we compare the personalities of Emma Hayes and Vlatko, or Emma Hayes versus anybody who's coached the U.S. Women's National Team. But then when it comes to how maybe her ideas could have been implemented differently, like if she was the manager at the Women's World Cup, would. Like, what could we have seen, if we're speaking in hypotheticals, what could have we seen a little bit different?
Yeah, so I think it's very possible that we could have seen a slightly more aggressive defensive approach. One thing that has remained pretty constant under Emma Hayes at Chelsea over more than a decade, which is crazy in this sport, that a coach is hanging on in a job. I mean, that's Peter Vermees stuff right there, frankly. Like, we don't see this very often. That defensive continuity of wanting to be aggressive, wanting to counterpress, that's not unique to Emma Hayes. Like, all the big teams are doing that stuff. But it's so clear when you watch her team play, they're not defaulting to a low block very often at all. They're trying to be in your face. They're trying to be energetic. So maybe a slightly more aggressive defensive approach. And the other thing is, I think, just more purpose with possession. Now, I'm not saying tiki-taka, passing, building out from the back in these really intricate styles. I don't think that's Hayes' game. Not that we won't see some of that, but real purpose in how they move the ball. If you watch the U.S. in the last tournament cycle, both the Olympics and the World Cup, they were super passive in how they went about everything in possession. Like, players had to check to see where other players were because they didn't know where they were supposed to be, and it felt like every pass took a beat or 2 beats too long. that is reflected in the tape. That's not something that you see from Emma Hayes. You're not going to see this like beautiful team-wide lock-picking Manchester City stuff, Barcelona on the women's side stuff. You're not probably going to see a lot of that. The players are going to drive most of that stuff. Rose Lavelle, Kat Macario, when she comes back and is healthy, hopefully that's going to happen at some point before we're all, living another life. Like, there are still things that need to happen here. But I think we're going to see the U.S. have a more purposeful, aggressive, up-tempo possession look. Matt Crocker keeps talking about it as like they wanted a possession-based coach. And I didn't get a chance to ask a question on the presser. I don't see Emma Hayes as really being that type of manager, even though Chelsea do dominate the ball. Against big teams in the Champions League, they had less than 50% possession last year. And so there is this still dichotomy. There's still more questions, to be honest, than answers. But those are some of the things that I think we would have seen, Christian, at the World Cup.
So then let me ask this, because you brought up what is my only fear with this hire, is that we've now seen sort of a somewhat of a passing of the torch, or maybe a turn within the women's game of the dominant factor or the dominant style tactic being this Barcelona style. Christian and I were hosts of the ICC tournament a few years ago, and we saw the U15s, who are now probably playing for the senior team. We saw the U15 girls team for Barcelona absolute body everybody with this tiki-taka style. Are Emma Hayes tactics enough on the international side to win over a Barcelona or a Spain national team that seemingly has, Guardiola's imprint all over it?
Yeah, that's a huge question for Emma Hayes, right? It absolutely is. I think you can go back and look, and Chelsea took on Barcelona last year in the semifinal of the Champions League. 2 legs, they lost. Emma Hayes has still not won the Champions League. That's something that she's certainly pushing for, and I would imagine is one of the main reasons that she's sort of still wanting to be involved there, because that's the hurdle that she has not quite climbed over yet. But they played Barcelona, and they played them really well. They played them really, really well. I think there is evidence that shows that Hayes' flexibility can be useful against a Barcelona team, or against Spain. That's probably the best example. Even Japan, right? We saw a little bit of them controlling the ball at the World Cup. I think we will see Hayes put together a very coherent and potentially successful game plan against those teams, but they're not going to outpass them. Like, they're not going to go out there and say, hey, we're going to be Spain against Spain. That's not going to happen for this team. Yeah. Whether that's right or wrong, whether that puts the U.S. in a better position or not, we don't know yet. We don't really know what this group of players is going to look like, especially with some of the young NWSL stars and Olivia Moultrie and Jaden Shaw feeling more and more like national team mainstays. That changes the calculus quite a bit for the U.S. women's national team, but I think Hayes has shown that she has an ability to adapt and look at what these other teams are trying to do and sort of work to counter that with her own club.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned the defensive, like that she could bring in a defensive aggressiveness that the U.S. women's national team hasn't really had. But then I would argue, do we really even need defensive aggressiveness? We have the ball all the time. We dominate a lot of possession. Like at the last World Cup,
Christian wants a 0-6-4 formation, bro.
No. I think what I would love to see, Emma Hayes bring is, the big complaint I made at the Women's World Cup was I think the decision, like the tactical decisions of our fullbacks. Our fullbacks didn't really play up. I think there was a lot of responsibility put on players like Trinity Rodman to just say, it's like, yo, we see you in NWSL, nutmegging people.
We'll pass you the ball about 50 yards from goal. Go do something with it.
Do your thing and bang in some goals. And the things that normally work, where we would either have we would have the better athletes or just the better even footballers. Like what's kind of happening is like the other countries have really good defenders that are not really we have to figure out a different game plan, and that's what I'm hoping Emma Hayes can bring to the table, because that's where it felt like even through each match in the World Cup, Vlatko did not really adjust, and we kept making kind of fun about like Andy Sullivan keep continuously getting opportunities, but it's just like it's not a dig on her. It's on the coach. It's like,
and Julie Ertz at center back was also rough.
I mean, but the U.S. is not going to give up a lot of goals. I mean, we can admit that. It is the U.S. women's national team, to me, is still very much a Goliath that every other team desperately wants to beat, and it means a lot. And it took penalties, and it took Alyssa Nair and VAR in the line, and it took all those little things. And I saw Alyssa Nair recently at Ali Krieger's party, retirement party, and I told Alyssa, the first thing I said to her, I said, it didn't cross the line. She was like, you're right, it didn't cross the line. So we look, that's where the margins are. So when it comes to the defensiveness, I mean, I appreciate the analysis, Joe, without a doubt, but that's not what I'm looking for.
Sure.
I'm looking for lots of runs, a lot of movement, a lot of passing, and so I kind of want to be Spain, but we don't need to be Spain necessarily, but maybe you need to have one or two Spain-like players. That's all I'm saying. And maybe if it's Roosevelt or somebody else, that's kind of what I'm looking for.
So then, Joe, you tell us, do you think Emma Hayes and everything she brings tactically and obviously the way she inspires the team, do you think it's enough to get over this hurdle of maybe not being the top dog, maybe in a spiritual or sense we are, but on the pitch and maybe we're not the top dog anymore? Do you think she gets us back to that spot?
To be honest, no. But I don't think there's a coach out there that does do that right now. I think the international women's landscape has changed so much.
You just got real sad in here.
Yeah, it's a moment of introspection, right? For the United States, things have changed, and they can continue to pursue being top dog, and they should, right? They should do everything they can to put themselves in a position where they are the top dog. But you look at Spain, you look at England, you look at France, you look at, I mean, Germany hasn't quite gotten there yet, but there are other teams that are playing at an extremely high level right now. I don't think if somebody tells you, like, this is the hire that's going to get the U.S. back to that perch, I do not think they're telling you the truth. We can't know that for sure, but it seems really, really unlikely to me that there is just one missing piece here to get the U.S. back. I think it's more likely that it gets them back to a position where they're playing competent soccer. Christian, I'm not sure you're going to get the free-flowing attacking stuff that you're looking for. I think it's going to be better than it's been, but it's still going to be a decent amount. If things transfer over from Chelsea, it's still going to be a decent amount of, hey, Trin, if you could nutmeg this guy, that would be fantastic. It's still going to be a little bit of that, right? But I think there will be more. I think there will be progress, and the U.S. are absolutely still going to be in that top, 2, 3, 4 teams where every time a tournament comes around, even the Olympics where Hayes has like 4 games to coach before that tournament starts, they're going to be a contender for that competition.
Right. Yeah. I mean, the Olympics are going to be a big barometer of her tenure for sure. So I'm excited to do that. Well, I hope she proves all of us wrong. That's the main thing. All right. Real quick, I want to talk a little bit about MLS playoffs because they are returning on sometime soon in the next fortnight.
Yeah. I think in the next 6 weeks we'll find out who's in the second round. Actually, before we talk about it, now that the first round is over in the 3 games, we've talked about this. What is your review of the best out of 3 system for a first round? How did you feel about it?
I thought the games were better. Like the actual soccer games were better than a lot of playoff games that we've seen, especially early on in the playoffs in the past. I don't think the format is quite there. If you're going to stick with the best of 3, which I'll be honest, I'm not totally opposed to, I think you have to shrink it down. There's always going to be the international break in between, unless MLS changes something major. So I think you've got to shrink it down, get rid of a couple of the days between games, and try to establish some actual rhythm. I think it's a really difficult format to go out there and build because it's harder to follow. It's not something that soccer fans are used to, even if American sports fans are. I think there are a lot of things against it, and this is not the right way to go about it. But in terms of the actual soccer product, we got some good games in a way that maybe we haven't gotten some good games in the past. So I'm not about to kick it out all the way, but I also won't be in tears if it's not here next year.
Yeah, I'm ready to kick it out all the way, throw in the trash compactor.
Yeah. I'm ready to say, hey, we tried it.
we gave it a whole college try.
Yeah, you said you wanted to try once. Honey, we tried it. I didn't like it. You could throw that stuff out.
It really made me question who I was as a person.
Yeah, we could throw it out. I would suggest washing it first in case somebody finds it.
That's all. Look, we had... only, St. Louis was the only lower seed to beat the higher seed.
And what's the team I picked to go all the way? St. Louis.
Ooh. I'm sorry. Vice versa. Sporting Kansas City beat the higher seed in St. Louis. And so, look, I think the results kind of speak for themselves. We weren't really shocked by any result outside of that one. The games, I would say the second half of the first games
meaningless.
Like if the lead was already 2 goals or more, that's it. There wasn't really much to do.
Wrap it up because goals didn't matter. Goal differential didn't matter.
I don't know if you saw that clip from John Tolkien talking about it and his
He was just
It
confused.
wasn't even necessarily disgust. It was like this indifference of like, oh, whatever. It was just we were losing, and I guess we just focus on the next game and whatever. I don't know. Whatever
Like,
they want us to
dude,
do, we'll do. I get.
Dude, it's a 36 minutes. It's like, we'll focus on the next game. Wrap it up.
So you don't want players talking about any minute of soccer in that way. That's what makes me kind of uncomfortable with the format. That any moment of the game can mean less than another, and that's my issue. That's why my compromise is the two-leg aggregate. But I would
But we've
still
seen that be lackadaisical
Yeah.
and people parking the bus so that they could get to the second game.
single game elimination.
How about
Yeah,
this?
that's it.
Here's my theory. I've said this before, Joe. I need you to buy in, okay? Look, apparently there was a rumor. I don't know if this is true. There's a rumor going around. It's been talked about like on Reddit and other places where MLS, I guess, committed to a certain amount of playoff games, which is why this to Apple, which is why this structure is in place. Because it doesn't make sense, especially with this many teams being allowed in, because there's no more ratings. It doesn't matter about TV ratings. It's behind a paywall. So if that's what they want, why doesn't everyone get in the playoff single game elimination? Everyone's in. The regular season is for seeding only. Everyone in.
You're going to make me cry. This is my sad moment on the show. It's not the U.S. women not being top dogs. The regular season already doesn't matter. Really, not nearly enough. So maybe you've actually solved it, Alexis.
No.
That just still makes me
It
sad
matters.
inside.
It's for seeding.
The home game.
Top two in Eastern and Western get a bye. Everyone else got to play each other. Single game elimination, all hands on deck. Everybody go.
Yeah, the only addition I'd make to this is I'd put every single team on the field at the same exact time.
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
we got options.
That one.
You know?
We'll
That
start
one.
from there.
Imagine that at NYCFC. You'd be like this, bro.
Yeah.
Seriously, what about that?
No, please. Okay, let's seriously
first thoughts.
entertain this ridiculous idea.
It's
Yeah,
not ridiculous.
My first thoughts is that we're going to need even more tiny banners like the one NYCFC got. Like each team's got to get their own mini
right,
banner that fits within the surface area of that banner, which is already like the size of my computer screen. Alexis, let's not do that. And instead, let's do basically any other thing. And I think that's my thought on that one.
Thank
I think,
you.
you know,
Okay.
we're
So look,
pulling the string.
You're saying that there's a chance it would work.
There's a chance.
Cool.
There's a
Okay.
chance, man. There's a chance.
Okay, so my last question: who do you think is winning the MLS Cup this year?
It feels more like a crapshoot now than I can kind of remember before. I'm still going Cincinnati. Home field advantage is huge in Major League Soccer. If they can get through this game against Philly on Saturday of 2035, then I think this is going to be massive for them because they'll get Matt Miazga back, and that means they're in a much healthier place. The Union are banged up this week as well. They're still missing Jakob Glesnes. Kai Wagner got suspended, as he should. So they're missing key players as well. Carranza looks like he'll be back and healthy. So it's not going to be an easy game for Cincinnati, but I think it's a winnable game for them at home, even with Miazga's absence. And then you have home field in Cincy the rest of the way. I think LAFC are probably another sneaky pick, but that Seattle game on Sunday, if they win that game against the Sounders, I get a lot more optimistic about LAFC. But as things stand right now, I'm going Cincy.
Okay, yeah. I mean,
All right.
I think if the Union win this game against Cincinnati and get over all the challenge, then I think it's revenge time for last year's MLS Cup. So
Old Jimmy Curtin back to his old tricks.
okay, Joe Lowery, thank you so much for joining us. Absolutely honored. Again, long overdue. We got to get you back because Alexis has a bunch of very, very dumb ideas.
Pitch
that he
my
wants to-
idea to the Total Soccer gang. I bet you Taylor's going to be. Don't tell him who suggested it.
Sure, I won't.
Honestly.
There will be bias. He's biased. We all know that.
Yeah. Mention that it was talked about at a press conference. And then let's see if we can get the other guys to buy in.
Deal.
Joe,
Deal.
please, if there's any, where should people follow you? Where can they follow your work? And please let the world know.
Yeah, the best place, especially because social media feels like it's kind of a dumpster fire right now, the best place is on the Total Soccer Show with Taylor Rockwell and Graham Ruffin and Ryan Bailey. We have fun over there Monday through Friday, and then over at backheel.com for all the written stuff where I write words, and all the words, as we discussed early on in the show. So
Every
I
single
think
one?
those are the two spots.
He's the inventor of it. Thank you for letting us use your language.
I'm happy to do it, guys. I'm
Joe
on it.
Lowery, thank you so much, brother. Cheers.
Thanks, guys.
Shout out to Joseph Lowery of Total Soccer
The
Show.
whole government, bro.
Back
Joseph
heeled.
James Lowery.
It's Joe. It's C Lowery. What's the C in his name? He's never. What's his?
Chrysanthemum. Imagine.
Where's
We're really going to look this up?
I'm just curious, Jay.
Do you think he puts his middle name? You put J Lo?
What's his?
It's not even on his LinkedIn, bro. It's not on.
Why doesn't he? Why is he hiding from us?
It doesn't matter. Thank you so much for doing the show. You know what? I can't believe it was his first time on the show. The dude is just great. If you get a chance, check out Total Soccer Show. A lot of our fans clearly know about it. Backheeled, obviously incredible. He does some cool videos, really cool writing and stuff on there as well. The Athletic, ESPN. I mean, he's got
homie. He's also pretty tall.
Is he?
Yeah, you've never met Joe in person, right? Yeah, I met him at the when Total Soccer Show did before the Men's World Cup in Brooklyn.
Yeah, I couldn't go to that one.
Joe was there and met him. I'm like,
I had the boob.
Everybody on TSS very tall for some reason. What's going on?
Except Taylor. Taylor's not that tall.
Taylor's pretty tall.
Taylor's not that tall.
Taylor's at least 6 feet, 5'11".
Yeah, we're his height.
That's not tall?
No.
Damn, all of a
we're
sudden.
average.
Christian's like, yo, I thought he was tall, bro.
Tall means taller than you.
But when I see someone my height or taller, I call them tall.
Okay.
I think I'm tall.
I think Christian's tall too, but I'm short.
Yeah,
so,
Christian's tall. Yeah. Because he's like an inch taller than me.
Okay, Alexis counting every little inch matters for Alexis.
Hey,
I've been married for a long time here, folks.
You know what I mean?
He pays attention.
Right.
So thank you so much, Joe Lowery. Make sure you follow him, Joe C. Lowery.
I'm sure he's very happy with this outro.
Joe C. Lowery
on
Twitter and go follow Total Soccer Show as well. Make sure you follow us at Soccer Cooligans on all social channels. Subscribe to the YouTube. Shout out to everybody watching here on DraftKings. And join the Patreon, patreon.com/soccercooligans. And enjoy Thanksgiving.
I was going to say, so there's no show on Thursday.
Yeah, there will
show.
be.
That's right.
No show on Thanksgiving.
We will be. What are you eating for Thanksgiving?
You asked me this.
Tofurkey?
You ask me this every year, and I'm not obsessed with what food I'm about to eat. I'm not like salivating.
We're still asking. What is it? Do you know what it is?
I have turkey, I think. I don't know. My wife and her family are handling everything. I'll have whatever's there.
What's your favorite side?
I like cranberry sauce.
By itself. All right, folks. It gets sadder every time we bring up food with Christian.
Eat it.
There is a real blockage there.
I just cut my hand and put it in there.
Don't even get it out of the can. Just give me the can and a spoon.
I don't know. They're all
And sit me in front of a soccer game.
Stuffing's cool. I don't know.
It's so sad.
Anyway.
Mine is the pernil.
Need as a side?
No, that's
Damn,
my
Alexis.
Well, turkey's the main. I have a little pernil next to my pernil.
Amazing. So enjoy Thanksgiving. We'll be back next week on.
Check out our social though. We'll still be dropping videos like reels.
Yeah. We have something dropping with Charlie Davies soon.
New video with
on
Charlie
YouTube.
Davies at some
That's gonna
point
be
this
dope.
week.
Hey, if you see one of our reels or TikToks you like, share it. You know what I mean? Let your friends know.
Yeah. You know what? When I was in San Diego, I like this compliment, and it shows the amount of work we're all putting in. Shout out to Miguelito as well.
Thank you.
Because the compliment I get the most whenever we travel and do stuff is they're like, oh, yeah, hey, Chris, how you doing? And I'm like, oh, I'm doing fine. And then the first thing they say, they go, man, you guys are everywhere.
I love that.
That's it.
You can't escape us,
You can't
bro.
escape
I'm
us.
making sure. We're everywhere. You'll never
Turn around real quick.
I'm also there.
We're here.
Okay, Alexis has you in a chokehold like Draymond Green, bro.
I got your own shoelaces ready to go around your neck. I didn't get them off the shoes.
So always appreciate it. Thank you so much for people interacting with our content. It means the world. All right, we'll be back next week. Shout out again to Joe Lowery. Thank you so much for joining us. And we'll see you in a week, everybody. Enjoy Thanksgiving. Peace.
Love you guys.